Could it be that some of your most challenging people might be your greatest hidden asset? We'll come back to that. Ideally, whatever the leadership application, business, ministry, regardless, ideally, all of our people would be fully involved, fully invested in the success of the mission. The traditional approach to gaining that involvement is by sharing vision repeatedly. Now, vision is important, it is valuable, but with repetition, it can often lose its relevance. It can often become less valuable, and especially when people are beginning to become discouraged, frustrated, challenging. God created each person with this innate need and desire for significance. And He also created each one uniquely with the way to achieve that significance. They just rarely recognize it. God has given each person a unique gift, a unique attribute for the benefit of all of us. And that attribute over time is wanting to bleed out. It's wanting to be utilized. But people rarely recognize it. They rarely understand what their unique gift is. And so it's wanting to be utilized. It's wanting to bleed out. They don't recognize it, so it often expresses itself in frustration. And when it's not addressed, it becomes often increasingly more critical. Now, it's more noticeable in smaller organizations. In larger organizations, people feel less freedom to share their frustration. And so what will happen is often we in larger organizations, business or ministry, we can often be surprised by someone who leaves that we thought was a critical piece of our success. We thought they were happy, they were satisfied. It can come as a surprise. Now, in smaller organizations, businesses and ministries, there's often a greater intimacy. People feel a greater freedom to express themselves, to share their frustration. And that frustration can often cause us to, as leaders, to make massive missteps. We can respond by, often people will literally cut them off, that they will begin to feel threatened. And in doing so, we could lose this amazing asset. Or, what is maybe even more dangerous is try to ignore the problem, hoping it will just go away. In which case it just festers and often leads to greater problems later on. So how do we respond? Well, again, ideally, it would be fantastic if we had a program, an approach, business or ministry regardless, where people could begin to recognize their unique gifting, their unique attributes, what they have to offer that they could then utilize and align with the vision, with the mission. That rather than giving up the vision, that it would come into alignment with the vision. And it would display itself, it would be applied within, in business, within their job responsibilities. Within ministry, it would begin to apply itself in serving others. And what would happen would, in an ideal sense, we would find people who are now finding a greater degree of satisfaction because they're finding their significance. So how do we deal, though, with those that are becoming challenging? So here is the opportunity that we could potentially change that challenge into a champion. That to the positive, recognize them expressing that dissatisfaction, often being critical about stuff that's really not that important, often is masking the real issue. And that it's on us as leaders to begin then to connect and find ways to help them look beyond what they think the issue is and to recognize their uniqueness, their attributes, their gifting, to begin to recognize how to apply it, how to utilize it and align it with the mission, and then begin to see them sense a greater degree of satisfaction, of significance, of happiness, that they literally transform from being a challenge into a champion for the vision, for the mission, because now they're finding their fulfillment. See, it's not the vision that will bring people to fulfillment, but it's them applying their gifting. Having the opportunity to do that is their true significance. So rather than letting things fester and then potentially becoming a greater problem, is recognizing this is an opportunity who's someone who clearly wants more. They just may not recognize it.